Hi everyone, my name's Simon. I'm an editor. It's 2023 and far too many of us are still using Avid 2018. I spoke to my friends at Salon and Hireworks and they said that up to 80% of their Avids are still in 2018. Even though we all need to move on, Avid is going to stop supporting that version of the software if they haven't already. Apple are going to stop supporting the machines that go along with that version of the software. Adobe, who make Photoshop, are already using the new versions of the Mac OS that aren't compatible with 2018. So we've all got to move on. But I totally get it. I get why you don't want to move on, because we're all used to Avid looking and feeling a lot more like this, with a nice timeline window, a composer window, a project window with settings and effects buttons, smart tools down this side, and the new versions of Avid just all feel completely unintuitive, and they've changed everything around. But the new versions are great. Like my Mac Studio that I run on is super fast. I can do exports really, really quickly. It means that I go home at 6 o'clock each evening, and I know you all want to go home at 6 o'clock each evening. So I'm going to show you how I set my Avid up to feel and look how we all love it to be. I'm going to save this user setting and try and upload it, and then hopefully you can just download the user setting. But I'm going to talk you through all the settings and how I do it on this machine now. So I'm going to open this project. I'm using two screens. I'm sure a lot of you will be using two screens. The first thing that Avid implemented, which I hate, is this thing called host panels. So we're going to start by turning that off by going Windows, host panels, and unticking that box there. And what that does is it makes the composer here an actual window, as we're used to, and it makes the timeline an actual window, as we're used to. So there's a timeline and the composer. And then on the other screen, the application window, I'm going to bring that over as well. There we go. So now we have an application window, a composer, and a timeline. The application window, this is the one that if you close it, if you click this red cross, it will leave the application. And we're all kind of used to that from the old version. They've put in this stupid bar down the right-hand side, which is the workspaces. Why it takes up so much screen estate, I don't know. I'm going to get rid of that straight away. So you can put your arrows here and just drag that, and it's gone. It's still up here, so you can change your workspaces at the top there. But that is the first thing that you need to do on that bit. And then they've got this bins thing where you can click these bins and they open up here, and you can have this list of bins and folders, you know, kind of in every bin window. But we don't need that. What we need is the project window, which we all used to use and love. So I've gone Tools, Project to bring that back. That's appeared on the other screen. There we go. There's a project window that we're all used to. And I tend to put my project window into this application window. So the way that you do that is you grab the word project in this purple bar and you drag it, and then you can dock it into the application window. Dock it on the left, on the top, on the right, or on the bottom where these green bars are. I'm going to dock it on the left. So now this is my project. This is my bins. If I open up, so I open up one of these bins, so I open up this assemblies bin, it will open up over here. Now, I don't need this extra column here. So again, I'm just going to drag that off. I'm going to put my arrows here, drag it away. So now when I open that bin, it opens here. If I open a scene bin, let's open this one, it also opens here in the bins. Or this scene bin, it opens here in the bins. So these are the bins, and this is the project window within the application window. Now let's take the composer. You could just have it like this, or you could even get rid of bins completely, and now just have your project window in the application window. So here it says the application, Avid Media Composer, it says the project murmur. Clicking that red X will close it. And this already now feels like how we used to have it. And if I open a bin, there's a bin opened up in its own bin window. So that's already, you know, a lot closer to how we used to have it. The other thing that we used to have in this project window is we used to have effects. You could click a little button up here and get effects. So I'm going to go Tools, Effect Palette, and here is the effect palette. And I'm going to drag this purple bar, and I'm going to dock it with the project window. But I'm not going to use these orange things. I'm going to hold down the Alt key, and that lets me dock it in this sidebar. So now I've got project and effect palette. Right. I'm also, the other thing we used to have here were our settings. I'm going to go Avid Media Composer, Preferences, and that opens up the settings window. It opened on the other screen, but that opens up the settings window. Again, I'm going to drag that purple bar and hold down Alt, and that lets me drop it in this side here. So now I've got project, I've got settings, I've got effects, I've got a bin, I've got a timeline, I've got a composer. We could arrange all these however you like. I can, make my project window nice and small over this side, put this anywhere I like, put the bin wherever I like. I can make these bigger. And there you have an interface much more like what you're used to using. Let me open a sequence so you can see that. I'll put this bin much smaller down here. Let's open up this sequence here. So there we go. Timeline, our source and record monitors. Let's open up our command palette, and let's get our match frame button, and we'll put that just in here, and we'll match frame, and there we go. Amazing. Much more like how we're all used to having it. But let's now unlock the brilliant new parts of Avid's interface that I do like. So what we can do is we can take this window here, and we can this application window, and we can make it much bigger. And then we can take the composer and we can dock it within this application window. And I'm going to dock it on the right here by where that green bar was. I'm going to take the timeline window, and I'm going to dock it at the bottom of the composer window. So that's there. And I'm going to take this bins window, and I'm going to dock this at the bottom of the project window here. And now it's kind of resized everything and put it all in the application window. So if I move this over, it moves my timeline and my composer and makes them a bit bigger. I can then resize this one in here. I can resize this one in here. I've got settings, I've got an effect palette. And that's actually more like how I use it, because now it's all in the application window, but I can resize those windows as I like. Another thing that we're missing is we're missing the smart tools from down this side. So what you can do is in settings, you've actually got tool palettes here. And if we duplicate that tool palette, so we've got a couple of them, and we open the tool palette, double click it, and then I've got this tool palette here. What I can do with this tool palette is I can make it nice and thin, and I can dock it by using these green bars. I can dock it on the side of the timeline. So now I've got a row of buttons on the side of my timeline. If I go Tools, Command Palette, I can then customize those buttons. Annoyingly, this is like default Avid ones that it puts in the tool palette. I want them all to be blank. And the only way I know to do that is to, one at a time, make them blank. So I'm going to make the tool palette blank. Sorry, bear with me while I do this. It's very tedious, but it is worth doing. I'm sure you can tell that I'm between jobs at the moment, which is why I've got time to make this video for all of you. Very happy to say, sponsored by Salon Rentals, Nick Long. You can buy me a pint for telling everyone how to do this. Avid, if you want to sponsor me, you're very welcome to sponsor me. I'll have some extra months on my subscription quite happily. There we go. So I've done that. I've made it blank. What I'm going to do is that tool palette that I just created, I'm going to call that blank tool palette. So then if I want if I make another one, then it's already blank. I'm going to then duplicate that one and call this second one Smart Tools. Let's open this one. So I'm going to get rid of the blank one, put the Smart Tools one over here. Oh, no, didn't want to do that. Put the Smart Tools one on this side of the timeline. And then I'm going to put the old Smart Tools that we used to use on the side of the timeline. So there's segment mode, there's overwrite trim and ripple trim and transition manipulation and link selection and audio keyframe mode. Brilliant. So that now looks a lot more like the Smart Tools that we used to have. And the other thing that I like to put in there, if I go menu to button reassignment and I click a button, I should be able to go audio data waveform. No, it's not going to let me do that. Should be able to go audio data volume. No, not let me do that either. Let me try it here. If I go this button and I go audio data waveform. Yes, so now I've got a waveform button and I'm going to go this button and go audio data volume. And then if I go button to button, I can put those over here too. It's a bit buggy. It doesn't let me do it in the tool palette every time, but you can seem to put it up here and then move them over. But what that allows me to do is if I now close this, if I click waveform on and off and volume on and off, you see the waveforms on and off of my timeline, which I find super helpful to just have that in this side menu. Another thing that we can do, in here, the composer settings, we could put 2 rows of buttons in there. And I do usually have my keyboard all customized. Another thing that we could do, if we now open a bin, let's open a scene bin like this scene bin. It's open down here. If I want to take this scene bin out of this little window down here and move it over here, you would hope I could just click it and drag it, but no, that doesn't work. It's buggy. I don't know why it doesn't work. If you click it and drag it onto itself, onto its own window, then it pops out. So now I've got a nice scene bin here. Here's my scene bin. Then I'm going to open up my script. So here's my script file. It's appeared down here as well. I'm going to drag it onto itself. And I'm going to dock the script on the right-hand side of this here. So now I've got this nice panel that's got my whole script in it, script sync, and my scene bin in it. And I could open up, another couple of scene bins. So here's another scene bin, and I could take that tab and I could, if I just drag it, it will let me, dock it with these. But if I hold down Alt, it will let me just put it up in this tab. So now I can have different tabs that up here with the different scenes on. I've got a scene there and a scene there. That's a nice way that I like to work. You might like to have the audio mixer. So let's open the audio mixer up. Here's the audio mixer. And when I'm on this timeline, like all of the tracks are up, I'm going to put the audio mixer. I'm going to take that there. I'm going to drag it off. I'm going to hold down Alt and I'm going to dock it into the side here with my bins. So I've either got the audio mixer there or the bins there. And then this whole window, I could, keep on the other Avid screen. So on my left-hand monitor, here we go. This is where I usually keep it. I've got my bins, I've got my script. I could choose a couple of bins. I can go to the audio mixer. Here's the audio mixer. All super nice. Last thing I'm going to do before I save this video and upload it. I've made this workspace now, so I want to save this workspace. I'm going to go Windows, Workspace. I could save it to current to the edit one, but I'm just going to go New Workspace and call it Simon Main Layout. And click OK. And now that has saved this whole workspace as Simon Main Layout. I hope that's helpful. I'm going to lurk around in the comments on Twitter and Facebook. If you've got any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I hope you all move over from Avid 2018 to 2023 now that you see that it's actually like super usable once you put in this effort. Cool. Thanks so much, guys. See you later.